Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Not Bland Show, and I'm your host, Dujane Bland. And today it is all NHRA championship drag racing as we are in week 4. We are headed to the Stampede of Speed. Yeah, Stampede of Speed. It's going to be a fun weekend. I mean, they've got so much planned. And if you go over tonight, 9 o'clock, on the tube, I can't say everything because I am also live on TikTok. Hello, everybody on TikTok. You guys are getting to see behind the scenes of the Not Bland Show as we talk NHRA Championship Drag Racing. Remember, tapping is free, so give me those hearts and share this show. You guys do the same. Subscribe, share the show, and enjoy this thing. We're going to have a blast. It's going to be a fun weekend in drag racing. A lot of stuff going on, but continue the playoff hunt for the Mission Foods Drag Racing Series at the Stampede of Speed, which is a show among a show in itself. I want to thank Sports Journey as we have modernized our logo. I want to thank Drag Race Reference, of course, our affiliate VTRN Sports. They're in Lynchburg, Virginia, 93.3 FM, 1320 AM. You can find all of the Sports Journey's content, NFL content, and NHRA content on their site as well, along with sportsjourney.com. And of course, this show is sponsored by Drag Race Bracket Bonanza. It is time to get your caps on. It is another race weekend, and it's another weekend for you to be able to win free prizes. What? What did you say? You said you haven't done that yet? I don't know what you're doing with your life, but if you haven't done that yet, we're going to go to a commercial break to show you exactly what you need to do, and we're going to get in hot and heavy with NHRA Championship Drag Racing Talk.
Drag racing fans, check out Drag Race Bracket Bonanza. It's the free, family-friendly fantasy bracket game. Now, after final qualifying at every national event, you can fill out your bracket for all the pro classes.
It's free, easy to click on your picks. If you need some help, just hit the randomizer button to fill in the blanks. It's for fun, stay engaged, and pick your winners today.
Yes, so it's going to be about that time. We'll get into that a little bit today too. Memphis Lonnie, what's up, man? How you doing? Thanks for coming in. I really appreciate it. Nice to see the Nitro Performance guy in the building. He was there in St. Louis, had some great shots. He always takes great shots, but had some great shots. One shot of that car, you could see the tire was just planted. It was a great shot. Great shot. What's going on, Drag Race Mayhem? Yes, indeed. Yeehaw! We are in Texas, and it's going to be big time in Texas. You can bet it. You can believe it. They're going to do it big. They've been doing it big for a while now, and this one seems to be bigger than ever. I think 40th anniversary of this thing. It's going to be fun, man. Going to be a lot of fun. What's going on, Blake? How you doing? Welcome in. It's been great. It's been a great day. Can't complain. A lot to look forward to here on the weekend. What's going on, Ford? How you doing? Thanks for coming in the building. And thank all of you on TikTok. Again, like I said, tapping is clapping, sharing is caring, as my friend Jackie Ray would say. So go ahead and do that there on the TikTok. And you guys do the same thing here with wherever you are, because TikTok doesn't like you mentioning other sites. So you know who you are, and what you're doing. Make sure you share. Make sure you subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend. We're talking some NHRA Championship Drag Racing here today. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is going to be the Stampede of Speed here in the NHRA Championship Drag Racing Series. And let's be real. In most categories, it is a two-horse race. You have Pro Stock, that's a two-horse race. Funny Car has just become a possible three-horse race. Top Fuel, a two-horse race. And Pro Stock Motorcycles, you got to give the six-time champion a little bit of leeway here. We're going to add him into this. It's also a three-way tie. So I'm going to start with Top Fuel. And it's very interesting when you start breaking down the numbers of these two cars here, Justin Ashley and Doug Coletta. Justin Ashley basically is QB1. He's the elite quarterback that's making all the right plays, making all the right calls when it comes down to leaving the line on time, and his reaction times have been stellar. But they don't have the car, or they don't have the coach to call the plays that are going to get them the explosive plays, that are creative, that are going to get them in the low 69 range. They don't have it. They can hang and they can keep it close, and they rely on their driver to step up to the plate and be elite like he is and take and get a couple wins for them. Doug Collette, on the other hand, you guys know who's over there. Alan Johnson, one of the best in the business, if not the best, will be in the Hall of Fame. They've been knocking it out of the park. And when you look at these two drivers in Top Fuel, you look at their countdown record. Well, Doug Coletta, 9-2 in the countdown. His average qualifying position is 3.625, so third place. Average qualifying position throughout the last 8 races. Okay. In the last 8 races, his round win-loss record is 21-5. He has 3 wins in the last 8, one of those being in the countdown, and no first-round exits. That's important. No first-round exits in the last half of the regular season. No first-round exits in the countdown. That's important when you're involved in a championship run. Justin Ashley, on the other hand, his average qualifying position is 6.875. See the points being lost there? That gap. Every little bit of points matter. You want to try to out-qualify your opponent. So I want to thank you for the badge there, Jay. Appreciate it. There on TikTok. Sharing is caring, tapping is clapping, as Jay Ray would say. Make sure you share the show. Make sure you guys let me know that you can see me. I think you guys can see me, because otherwise you'd be saying that. But those little points matter in qualifying. Now, you guys who are avid drag racing fans understand the importance of getting every small point when it comes down to being involved in the countdown to the championship. When you look at the countdown win-loss record for Justin Ashley, it is 6-2 on the countdown coming into Dallas. 16-4 over the last 8 races. He is 3 wins also in the last 8 races, one of those in the countdown, and he has 1 first-round exit. The good thing about that is that first-round exit has not been in the countdown, where we have seen Justin Ashley have issues with exiting early within the countdown. And usually, because he's had a hot season, and that first-round exit in the countdown usually has been the deciding factor on whether he's going to have an opportunity to win a championship or not. So far, so good for Justin Ashley and that SCAG Power Equipment team. So these are 2 cars that are running exceptionally well. You can see with the round win-loss record comparison between the two that Doug Coletta has had a pretty darn good race car and has done a little bit better than Justin Ashley when it comes down to the round wins. And that's really what the separation is. That's why he's behind 86 points. Your next closest in the points is Sean Langdon at 127. I put the do or done line right between those guys. It's no disrespect to Sean Langdon, but you need both Justin and Doug to go out early, and you need to capitalize on that by going the distance. If that for some strange reason happened this weekend and he goes the distance, now we're talking about a 3-horse race possibly, because you got to think in Pomona, which is the last race of the season, that is points and a half. So he has the ability, if he can narrow the gap, that points and a half will give him an opportunity to be able to snag a victory for a championship if that were to happen. But right now, we haven't seen anything that indicates that that would be something that would be happening. So they need a little bit of help. Now, my question is to you, the audience, if I'm Sean, although I would be sacrificing qualifying points, do I try to set myself up to match up against a Doug or Justin? Now, let's be real. They haven't necessarily been top of the ladder qualifying consistently, but when you go back and look at everything here, Doug's anywhere between 3 and 1. He was 1 in St. Louis. You look at Justin and his qualifying. Let's see, let's get down there to that. I am way past it because he's an A. You look at his, he hasn't really qualified number 1 at all, except for Norwalk. That was the first race of the last 8. So he hasn't smelled a qualifying position of number 1. And that is a problem if you're trying to chip away at a deficit, because Doug is constantly in 3rd or more. And he qualified 12th in St. Louis. That makes a difference. That's a big points gap. That means you're probably not low for the round too many times. And that's proof of their qualifying, number 3.754 was their qualifying number in St. Louis. So that tells you right there, there's some issues with being able to run the bigger numbers, the 369s, the 370s. They have eluded them as far as being consistent in that department. Again, I want to thank everybody there on TikTok. You guys are getting to see behind the scenes of the Not Bland Show as we are broadcasting on the book, the tube, and the artist formerly known as. So we are on both the Not Bland Show's books and my particular page. And we are also on the Not Bland Show tube. So if you want to go over there and see everything, all the fireworks, you can go there. If you're comfortable with watching it here on TikTok and getting a chance to see behind the scenes, then just stay right here. Just make sure you're tapping the screen, get those hearts up, and share the show. So let's see what we got in the comments before we move on here. Lot of talk. We got a lot of really good people here in the comments that understand and know exactly what's going on here. And Drag Race Mayhem hits a home run right out of the gate. He says NHRA Tech Department still MIA for 4 weeks of the countdown. And yes, I do have a problem with that. We will get into that. That is something that I find to be, again, you don't want speculation, but you won't squash what's being talked about. There was a big tech issue and somebody's run got qualified for some particular reason. And the scuttlebutt is it was traction control of some sort. And we still ain't said nothing about it. We just going to try to let this thing, ride out, and hopefully it dies out and nobody keeps talking about it and they'll forget about it and we don't have to say anything about it. Well, you know what? I'm not going to forget about it. Drag Race Mayhem is not going to forget about it. I can tell you there's some other people that aren't going to forget about it either. Somebody needs to come up with a statement. We need a statement and need it yesterday. Memphis Lion says if Doug Coletta wins the next 2 races, does he clinch the championship? Well, with him being 86, he's 86 points ahead of Justin Ashley. So I would say it's probably about 2-3 rounds of racing. That's not including qualifying points, bonus points, or anything like that. I think he would have to go the distance. So this is what would have to be done. He would literally have to win those races, and Justin would have to go out somewhere between round 1 and round 2. That's my whole thing. He would have to go out super early for that to be a possibility, and I just don't see that right now. But I also would say this: as good as Doug has been, they have also given you reason at times not to trust him, because we still have the occasional, which it's not just them, it's been a lot of people within the countdown. And really, to be honest with you, that's why some of these drivers are 100 and some plus points back in the points, because of just that, because there's too much inconsistency and they're not going the distance. But that's also why we don't have a tremendous gap. It's not like a 200-point lead or anything like that, because the top 2 have faltered and have gone out early, not no later than semis, but, they have each not won a race for whatever reason, or been out in the semis for whatever reason. So I think you would have to see a tremendous drop off from Justin Ashley, and you'd have to see Doug go the distance 2 times in a row. I'm not sure I can trust that, although numbers and everything speak to the fact that that is possible. He also has, they both split a win here within the countdown. So when you look at all of that and you look at their round win-loss record, you could think that. But again, 6-2 isn't bad, a round win-loss record for Justin Ashley, and that 1 win really helps out. And they've really been, although not having the home run hitter in the tune-up, they have been consistent, and that's the key, consistency. So they can still keep pace and keep this thing, close to be in striking distance. Because again, in Pomona, it's 1.5 points, so that makes a big difference there. Drag Race Mayhem says, as much as I want Ashley to get it, I don't see them beating AJ when the chips are on the table. Alan Johnson has a lot of mistakes, has a lot of mistakes, but not when you can afford them. Yeah, that's my whole thing there with them, is that when you look at it tuner for tuner right now, Mike Green is not hitting on all cylinders. Alan Johnson is Bill Belichick in his heyday. You know what I mean? Mike Green is Mike Tomlin. He don't have losing seasons, but don't win championships either. So ain't won a championship, I think, since Tony Schumacher, Army days. So there's that, and you can't deny that. That's a very good point, Drag Race Mayhem. Yeah, I did too. Blake, it was very good. She does great work, man. Great work. It's unique and informative. Drag Race Mayhem says it would be good for the sport if Justin gets it, because it's very rare the person in the seat has that big of an impact on winning in drag racing. That is very true. We don't have the big personalities, that some sports do, that have the notoriety that really attract the young fan base. We don't have that just yet. As far as multiple stars that stand out, that first name basis with the young fan base, and that's key. That's very key. given how much qualifying points you can gain, which I think we need to cut qualifying points in half, I don't think it's worth it to not push it, considering you can gain a whole round. True, that is very true. That's something you got to think about. You giving up, you giving up points to try to take someone out early. You're going to lose some ground, but then you really lost a lot of ground if you manage to make that successful and you're able to line up against your foe and take that person out and you don't take them out. Now you've lost the little points that would have kept chipping away at the deficit, and you lose, the points by round. So now it's a double whammy. So I get it. That's a valid point. I am 100% with you. I don't think they're going to say anything either, but you know what? We're going to still stand on them necks until they do. And they can be mad about it all they want to, but we're going to stand on them necks until they do. Because if you want to be a professional sport, you got to do big boy things. It's just that simple. Nobody wants to hear about you disqualifying runs and then we don't have any information on what it was, what it did, and why it was disqualified, and how it was found. But yet other motorsports that we call roundy round can do that with ease. Yeah, don't like that. Don't like that at all. At this point, if they put out a statement, they just look stupid. This should have been handled this weekend. I agree, it should have happened yesterday. But here we are. Here we are. No answers. Still questions. Yeah. Blake says, he said, I would, because you're getting down to the last few races. You have to try to shake things up a bit to try to make some ground on the top guys in the points. That's a valid point too. It's a double-edged sword, right? If you're successful, you're a hero. If you falter and miss and you don't capitalize, you're a zero. It's an epic fail. And you'll have to hear about it. But I mean, at the end of the day, you're going to hear about it one way or the other, right? When you don't make and you don't win the championship, you're still going to hear about it. So you might as well go out, I guess, swinging, right? Swinging for the fences. But that is a strategy, and I'm interested. I think we have full fields, and I think we have bump spots. So I don't think folks will try to do that because of that. Ladies and gentlemen on TikTok, you are watching the Not Bland Show behind the scenes. I am your host, Dujade Bland. If you haven't seen me before during this week doing other things like NFL, if you would tap the screen, that would be great. Tapping is clapping, sharing is caring. And we're talking NHRA Championship drag racing here tonight, breaking down the fourth race of this drag racing season in the countdown. It is playoff time. It is championships on the line. And that's what we're talking about here today. So we will look at that car count here in a little bit and see if we can find out. What do you think about the Steve Torrence news? Scroll up to see it. I'm sorry, but I'm behind on that Steve Torrence news. Somebody fill me in. I've been, because of Monday Night Football, it puts me behind. As you know, I cover the Jacksonville Jaguars along with the NFL for Sports Journey and for Heavy.com. And that game had me behind the eight ball. And at least it was worth it because the Jacksonville Jaguars won. So it was worth it. And I called it, by the way. Called it. I appreciate that, Braxton. Thank you. I appreciate that. And share it with other people. We're talking NHRA Championship drag racing here. on the Not Bland Show, and you guys are getting to see behind the scenes of the Not Bland Show. Last week we were able to broadcast on TikTok. TikTok gave me a rejection for some reason, put me on suspension, so I come off of suspension at 9 o'clock today. So maybe next time we'll be live, or maybe we'll just do this because I can actually see the comments. With Restream, you don't see the comments. So, but Braxton, appreciate it, and it is all of it is greatly appreciated there on TikTok. Nitro Performance guy says first run setup, run, and then throw down the rest of the weekend. Those points are critical. They are. And I think that it is so important to get off to a fast start when it comes down to qualifying. The formula stays the same. If you come out and you trip up in the first round of qualifying and then you miss in the hero session, ladies and gentlemen, on TikTok, we call it the hero session because it is usually a nighttime event. That nighttime event, the temperatures are down. That means the track is tight. It can hold a lot of horsepower. And what you're trying to do is run the lowest lowest ET you possibly can to get to the number one spot, because likely you won't have those conditions on Saturday in both of those sessions. So you want to try to catapult yourself to the number one spot and also get those much needed bonus points. With that being said, if you miss those two sessions and you hiccup, you usually are burping and farting in on Saturday. You're not making clean passes on Saturday. And if you are, you're scaled way back because you're just simply trying to get in the show. And when you do that, and when you miss on Friday and on both of those sessions, now you're coming into Sunday not fully lit. Thanks for getting your daily heart me with me, Tara. Thanks for coming in. We are talking NHRA Championship Drag Racing. Good evening to you. We are talking drag racing here. You guys are getting to see behind the scenes of the Not Bland Show, which is being broadcast on the Tube, the Book, and the artist formerly known as. As you know, TikTok don't like us mentioning other, sites. So thanks for stopping in, and we are glad you are here as well. Hopefully you learned something about NHRA Championship Drag Racing. As we look ahead to the funny car ranks, this one is interesting. Matt Hagan has made a case for himself by getting that win, and he has 2 wins over the last 8 races and 1 in the countdown. And that 1 in the countdown was super, super important for him. That brought him back into the conversation because really it was a 2-horse race. It was Jack Beckman, all John Force Racing, Jack Beckman and Austin Propp. Hands down. That's all it was. Yes, Braxton, Cowboys are doing pretty well considering. I don't know where they go from here, but we'll talk all about it here. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it Sunday morning. I'm going to be on the road, but maybe we'll have another show tomorrow and we'll talk more about that. But yeah, they're doing pretty good considering, but you also have to consider the opponents that they're playing there, Braxton. This has made it very interesting in funny car. Look, you could say that Matt Hagan has the hot car outside of Austin. Austin's got 1 countdown win. Matt Hagan has the other. This is where Jack Beckman fails in. And we'll go through it right now. Austin Propp, his average qualifying position is 2.25. He is 5-2 within the playoffs, which is important. He is 22-3. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I said 22-3. Round win-loss record and 5 wins over the last 8 races. No first-round exits at all. I mean, exceptional. We really thought when he coming into the countdown, they were pretty much going to, load up the train and steamroll everybody. But that has not been the case. Matt Hagan makes it interesting getting a win there in St. Louis. He is 6-2 within the countdown round win-loss record, 15-6 over the last 8 races, and he has 2 wins, as I stated, 1 in the countdown, 1 outside of the countdown. And the big thing for him is he had 1 first round exit, and that first round exit was within the countdown. So he's really fortunate to be in the conversation of being in the championship hunt. And believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, this man is number two in the standings of the championship race. 20 points back from Austin Prock. Amazing what the countdown reset does, doesn't it? A man who had pretty much dominated the regular season, and dominate is an understatement. He dog walked the competition. And now he's 20 points. He's trying to keep Matt Hagan from coming around him and taking this championship points lead. Jack Beckman, 65 back. Ron Capps, 125. Ron Capps needs a miracle. He needs a miracle. And his car has not been running as good as the other 3 at the top. That is a problem. Now, if they cannibalize each other here, Matt and Jack, let's say they were, for some strange reason, because this playoffs hadn't been strange already over the last 3 races, they meet in the first round. That would be a blessing for Ron Capps, especially if he could take that Napa know-how to a semifinal or final. That would give him all the points that he needs to get himself back in the conversation. Obviously, you need Austin Prock also to kind of trip and fall a little bit, stumble, and you could really be in the conversation. But right now, he is not in the conversation. And as we look and go through these numbers, we're going to go to Jack Beckman. Matt Hagan's average qualifying position is 4.375. He's got to do a little bit better than that here over the next couple of races. Those bonus points matter, and the guy who's been getting them is Austin Prock. Even though, he doesn't have the best round win-loss record, and I mean by like 1 win when you look at Matt Hagan with that 6-2 round win-loss record. But he is beating out his competition because he's qualifying better than them. You look at Jack Beckman, 5.125 is his average qualifying position over the last 8 races. That's where I'm getting that qualifying position from. Last 8 races, 5-3 in this countdown, 14-7 in the last 8, and he has no wins and no first round exits. Yet he is still in the conversation. But that is why he got caught and passed by Matt Hagan. He doesn't have any wins. You need to at least be semifinal or less in order to have an opportunity to keep yourself in the conversation and be within striking distance of it. He is within striking distance of it, but this habit can't continue to go down the road that it's been down. At some point, someone's going to have to put the big boy pants on, and somebody's going to have to pull the tune-up out of somewhere. They have got to be able to take advantage of the Hero series and the Hero session on Friday night at the Stampede of Speed in Dallas. They have to. That if they take advantage of that and are able to get the small points over qualifying, it's going to make a very interesting Sunday going into this playoff race. And if, Lord forbid, he can go at least semi the distance and Austin has another second round exit, it got juicy all of a sudden. This conversation gets real juicy all of a sudden. So it's going to be a excellent battle here. I'm hoping that it's a 3-way. And to be honest, I kind of hope that there is some hope for Ron Capps and he can get himself back in this conversation, because at the end of the day, that's what makes exciting racing. That's what makes storylines. That's what gets people talking. That's what gets people interested. We don't really want to see this be over with too soon. Want to go right down to the wire, right? So that's going to be important for those two, Matt and Jack, to stay within it. Like I said, Ron Capps being fourth, Daniel Wilkerson right behind him in fifth, 137 back. Paul Lee, who has pretty much been on the electric slide, and I mean sliding up out of here since probably about Norwalk. They've been on a slide that they didn't really want to be on. They went from like top five to sixth. Thank you, Jackie, for getting your heart me with me. I can't do the heart thing. There we go. We are talking NHRA championship drag racing here, and you guys on TikTok are getting to see the behind the scenes of what's going on here. And being that we have talked a while, guys, we're going to get into the last half of this right after this commercial break, because I got to tell you guys something about Wednesday. So let's get into the commercial break, and when we come back, we'll talk Pro Stock and Pro Stock Motorcycle to close out this show right after the break. It is Talking Funny Cars with Buddy Hall on Wednesday. You can find that on all of the NHRA's fast channels. That's on Tubi, that's on Sling, that's on Roku. Wherever you can find the NHRA's fast channels, you can find that show there, and they will be back with another one at 8 p.m. tomorrow, October 8th. At 8 p.m., they will be talking to Alexis DeJoria, who, given the season that they've had, you folks on TikTok may not know the background here, but Alexis came into the season, into Gainesville, first race of the season. They pretty much got that team together and the car together like a week before. And I might be exaggerating a little bit, but it was like a week before. Really reeling, didn't have a lot of parts, didn't have a lot of extras. Went through the season. They've been on a limited schedule. They've added some races as they've gone through the schedule. But she's had some good race days here recently. They went rounds and I believe got all the way to the semifinal round here recently. And the car has been, for what they have been going through with all the growing pains, a new team, a new car. They've been through a couple explosions that they've had to get the body fixed and things like that. They've had a pretty good season considering what they've had to go through as a new team trying to find their footing. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that. And we've had her here on the Not Bland show as well. And you can find that on the tube. It is within the lives. If you scroll back, you'll see the thumbnail for her. And we had a great time here. And I'm sure some of you guys saw some of the clips here on TikTok that we posted. So, yeah, very interesting person. Been in drag racing a long time, and she's a competitor. She is a fearless competitor. Let's see. E1 says, who y'all think winning, Browns or Steelers? Steelers. No. You know what? I'm going to back that up. I'm going to say Browns. Dylan Gabriel performed pretty decently. I'm not high on the guy, but Dylan Gabriel performed pretty decently. So I'm going to go ahead and go with the Browns. I went with Jacksonville last night, and I was right. And I explained why, and I was right. I'm not saying I'm the, Nostradamus or anything. I just hit on them every now and then. Pro Stock. It is a two-horse race, unfortunately. Everybody else is vying for position. Second place is what it is. Well, really, it's third place. Second place is pretty much sealed up there. It's going to be Dallas and Greg within this fight. Matt Harford is 160 points back, just not consistent enough. You're going to have to go further rounds than Dallas and Greg, and right now there ain't enough rounds in racing for you to go that far. So there is, as they would say, as Vince McMahon's song would say, there is no chance in double E hockey sticks. Yeah, no chance. Aaron Stanfield's 200 back, and it gets worse. Corey Reed 214, Eric Enders 218. You get the point. None of these people have a shot at winning a championship. Basically, those two probably could not show up to the last two races, and likely one of them is going to win the championship. Just that simple. But looking at these two, Dallas is the one that really needs to have this win. If you know, you know. Last year, he was put out by his boss, Greg Anderson, who he is tangoing with right now. At the last race of the season, it was in the final round. It went all the way to the end, and Dallas just didn't have enough. And it would be Greg Anderson who would win the championship. Once again, close. The bridesmaid and not the bride. Well, this year, Dallas Glenn is looking to be the bride. And right now, he's small steps ahead of his counterpart. He average qualifying position is 1.5, so he's usually in the number one slot. 8-1 round wins loss record, 22-5 for him. 2 wins, and one of those wins in the last 8 have been in the countdown. But Greg Anderson, average qualifying position is basically 2.625. 8-2 round win loss record, 17-16 in the last 8 races, and 3 wins in the last 8. But he's got 2 wins in the countdown. That's where things get tricky, and that's why this thing is really tight right now. That's why he's only 25 points back from Dallas. Dallas is going to have to generate some space. He's going to have to generate some room. He's going to have to throw some bows or something and get some room. It is going to be ever important that he continues to go rounds and goes more rounds than Greg Anderson. These small points in qualifying are going to matter big time. Every point is going to matter. And if you can set some type of record, then do it. I don't know if the conditions will allow it in the next couple of races, but those small points will matter. You will need those small points in order to secure a championship, especially with as good as these two cars have been over the last 8 races and the entire season, to be honest. I don't know about you guys, but I'm thinking that this is Dallas's year. It has to be. He has to find a way to pull this out. If he slips up, though, Greg's gonna win it again. Ford says, I would love to see Hagan take the championship. That would be something. And it's not impossible because, I mean, if you look at how things going, he hasn't lit the world on fire, but he's been consistent in going rounds. And that's really what's important. You know what I mean? All those big time numbers and low ETs and lighting up the scoreboard with, 338 mile an hour, 340 mile an hour. That's cute, but that don't win you championships. Ask Brittany Force. Blake says he has a suggestion to guest. Yeah, we'll try to do that. Tommy Johnson would be very interesting. Very interesting. It would be a great person to talk about when it comes down to the IHRA making its comeback. Hoping for Norwalk, Indy, Chicago, and maybe Pennsylvania. You guys know which ones I'm going to be at next year. Hopefully, God willing, it will be Norwalk. It will be Maryland International Raceway. It will be South Georgia Motorsports Park, and Gainesville. Anything outside of that is a possibility. No guarantees. Pro Stock Motorcycle, though, very, very interesting battle here as we now pretty much looks like a 3-horse race. I'm going to give Matt Smith a little bit of, pass because he is a 6-time champ. I believe he is the reigning. No, he's not. I don't know. My mind escapes me on that one. But he is a 6-time champ. And he's only 53 points back out of first. So it's not horrific. It's not nothing that he can't overcome. The problem is, though, he lacks the consistency. You look at his numbers over the last 8 races: 12-6. He has no wins. He has a first round exit, and that was in the countdown. 5-2 overall in the countdown. Average qualifying position 2.5. So he's right around there. Everybody's right in the same ballpark over the last 8 races with their qualifying positions. 1.5, of course, Gage Herrera. 9 times out of 10, Gage is number 1. And then you look at Richard Gatson, 2.375 for that. And, this is why these 3 bikes are in contention. 7-2 for Richard Gatson, 18-5 over the last 8 races in the round win-loss record. 2 wins, 1 in the countdown, no first-round exits. Gage Herrera, 5-2 within the countdown round win-loss record, 15-4 over the last 8 races, and 3 wins for him. One of those are in the last 8 races was in the countdown, which is so important. And that was last race in Seattle, where the rental bike took out Richard Gatson, and Gage managed to find his legs and was able to snag a much-needed win as Richard began to open up a small gap there. I think before coming into St. Louis, it was like 77 points. So what a difference a race makes. And it's going to be interesting, guys, coming into this particular event here at the Motorplex at Dallas, the Stampede of Speed. They've been going at it since, I think, probably beginning of this week or maybe the weekend, but they've had country shows. They've had a lot of, what do they call them? One of those, how they let the lights go or whatever, and they fly off into the sunset. I don't know what they call that, but somebody can probably tell me. But they've had a lot of stuff going on. They had cars on the track today. Apparently, they have sportsman cars, about 500, that are going to be running on Monday and Tuesday. So they've got a lot. They're the originator of the special award trophy during qualifying of that, being number 1 and getting to sit on the saddle there in Texas. They got some special stuff going on. If you guys come over to the Power Hour, which is on the tube on Competition Plus TV, on the tube, we'll be talking to I forget her name, but we're talking about that with her and all of what went into this big event here, which is like the 40th anniversary of things. So let's check and see if we can figure out how many of these cars that we have in these classes, and then that will give us a better, look and thought process on whether it is feasible for someone to try to qualify 16 to take out their foe at 1. Looks like we have more than 16 cars. 2, 4, 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15, 16. We have 17. And yeah. So you could, but you would put yourself at risk. Because I think when you look at the cars, all of them there are no slouches. Mitch King, Kyle also can with the Mew Cat Top Fuel Dragster. They're both capable of running numbers to put them in the show. So really, you don't have a chance to be here and try to go 16. You're likely going to cost yourself something. It's Dave W. in the comments. He says, in all honesty, I think that some big moves can be made in pro stock at the Motorplex. Okay. Anything is possible. We've seen it throughout this countdown. We've had the most strangest thing. I mean, nobody had on their bingo card that Ida Zetterstrom was going to be in the final round. Nobody had that on their bingo card. Me too, man. That is a beautiful card, by the way. It's so unique, so unique. Um, but it's going to be it's going to be interesting there. Let's see. Then we'll go to funny car. I think they're going to be full as well. I don't think there's a bump spot. I think there is a bump spot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yeah, 17, I believe. So you're putting yourself at risk, and I think maybe the only way that would even work. I don't even know if Pro Stop Motorcycle, I think, has a full field. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. They got 16 bikes. So you could do that in Pro Stop Motorcycle, but I don't know if it benefits you or not. I don't know who it benefits. I think Matt would rather just go ahead and let the chips fall where they're made. Maybe that's something you do the second to the last race. But if you feel like you have to do something, it's worth a shot. Maybe one of his team bikes, like John Hall or somebody. I don't know if they'll take a dive to do it, but because I think John Hall is in pretty decent range. I don't think it's not out of the realm of possibility that if all three at the top were to go out within the first 2 rounds and he went to the final, that he could make up some ground. So I don't know if you'll have a team bike that will try to go out there and try to match up with your number one foe that is in the points lead or ahead of you to try to help you gain some ground. So, and I believe there's like 20 some pro stock cars like they always are at every event. So that's out of the realm of possibility. So pretty much you got to hope for some slip ups and you got to go out there and do your job. Can't depend on anyone. It's got to be all you and on your back to go out there and win. Dave says, Proc is probably going to be number one in funny car. The best bet is to come in 8 and 9 and try to race him round 2. That is a good point. That is a good point. Because you can get him out. It's a risk if you do it, if you try to shoot for the bottom. 8 or 9 is doable. And that could actually come naturally. Because if you look at Matt Hagan and Jack, they have their average qualifying position over the last 8 races. Matt 4, Jack 5. And if I go back to the stat sheet for Funny Car, when you look at Matt Hagan, over the last 2 races, he was 1 in Charlotte, he was 2 in St. Louis. For the most part, they hung around the last part. They had a number 1 qualifier in Sonoma, and then it was 10 and 5 in Indy and 9th in Reading. So we'll look at Jack, and I think Jack has kind of been in that kind of realm too. Let's see, Jack was over in the countdown, has been 9th at both Charlotte and St. Louis, was 4th at Reading. He has had 2 number 1 qualifiers here recently. That was Brainerd at the end of the season, regular season, Brainerd and Indianapolis. So there has been some number 1 qualifiers recently in his wheelhouse, and I think we know where Austin stands. Most of his has been at the top of the ladder. Dave W. also says you can do 4 and 5, but then you won't see him until the semis. If that is how that side of the ladder plays out, still give a chance to make 2 rounds up on him. Yeah, yeah. There's a few strategies out there that could help. So he says the flip side, he beats you and it's game over, and that's the risk. I think that's been the risk for everyone here this season. Is you just, especially in the countdown, they've kind of been Jekyll and Hyde. They hadn't been that dominant that you had this feeling like every pass they were going to make that you had to believe that they were going to go to distance, and you had to hope that you ran a better number than them, and on top of that cut a good reaction time off the tree. So yeah, it's going to be either way. You got to go out there and do your job. You got to go out there and try to be better than them. If you don't, it's going to be lights out anyway. By the way, everybody, nice to see everyone who has been in and out here on TikTok. You are watching the behind the scenes of the Not Bland show here Tuesday night. Here we start at 7 p.m. We usually end in an hour, and we will be wrapping this up here real soon. And we might stay on a little bit longer here to address some things in the comments here. Looks like TikTok wants to make sure I'm still active, so I had to do a little puzzle thing there. But we'll stay on a little bit here a little bit longer on TikTok, and we'll chat it up for a little bit before I get ready for the next show. Put in the comments if you want me to come back later tonight, and you want to see the Power Hour behind the scenes. You won't hear the commentary. You'll hear a lot of things that I will say, but you won't hear the entire commentary. So it's up to you. If you think that something that we should do, then we'll do that. And Wayne's World, we'll talk about that there with the Steelers here in a little bit. Right after we get ready to get up out of here for the Not Bland show here on the Tube. You said, Dave W says, you can't say TikTok without me just feeling. Yeah. Kesha's lyrics. Indeed. Yeah, I hope so too, Blake. I really do. I hope some of these races work out, and we'll see. Put it into the atmosphere and put it into the world and speak it into existence. Maybe, that usually helps. But ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be a great race weekend. A lot going on. I will be in Gulfport doing some camera work for the Southeast Gassers Association. It is also cruising the coast, so it's a lot going on over there. It's going to be a fun weekend. It's going to be a great weekend in NHRA Championship drag racing. Yeah, man, let's get after it. It's race 4 of this playoffs. It's going to be a very, very interesting deal if we come out with the same kind of outcome that we had here last week or 2 weeks ago in St. Louis, with all of the early exits by top teams and some unexpecteds going to semifinal and final round. So, yeah, very interesting. Very interesting. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank everybody on the TikTok and on the live here for watching the Not Bland show. It has been an excellent deal. As you know, we're trying to do NFL on Mondays because we are within the playoff realm here with the NHRA. We want to try to give it as much time as we can. There's a lot of storylines, and trying to tackle that, as best as we can and give it the time that it deserves. Well, for everything Nitro, for Sports Journey, for VTRN Sports, I want to thank all of you guys, especially Drag Race Bracket Bonanza. If you guys have not signed up for that yet, please do. You sign up for free, you win free. Where they do that at? Not too many places, especially in this world. Yeah, man. You guys enjoy the playoff races, and I will catch up on them, and I will be well versed in them by the time we get back to 7 o'clock next Tuesday here on the Not Bland Show. In the meantime, guys, have a great rest of the week. Be safe out there, and be happy. Later, guys.